You were just asking me, babes, if I learned anything from the Clubhouse town hall this meeting.
Uh-huh.
I didn't listen to all of it.
Yeah.
Because I was taking a shower for part of it, and we are doing this probably during the last 10 minutes.
Uh-huh.
But there were some interesting things discussed in there.
Mm-hmm.
For example, apparently this week, Clubhouse will give you the ability to look at who has spoken in rooms you've been in recently.
Oh, really?
And that could be helpful because let's say I go to a room, but I'm a little bit busy, and somebody's speaking on stage who I think is really intelligent and I want to follow them.
Right.
But I can't get to it in time.
Yeah.
I could go back and look at it.
Oh, wow.
Another thing that they've said today, or Paul talked about, was improving the calendar experience. Because he even said today, the calendar kind of sucks.
Oh.
Which is true.
Oh, with the events and everything?
Yes, because the way it is now, at least my experience, is they'll show you events that started an hour ago when you first go to the calendar.
Oh, wow.
And that's not relevant to me.
Well, obviously it isn't if you missed it an hour ago.
Plus, if you scroll down like I do, eventually it'll scroll back up. It won't go all the way, but it'll go up like 10 things that were behind you that you already looked at. So
that's so the first thing you look at is what's first on the list up above.
The first thing you see is usually something that's already started.
Okay.
And then you have to scroll down.
Oh, wow.
It doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but he says that he said today that it kind of sucks and that they're working on it.
Yeah, because isn't there a way to reverse the order of things that you see?
No, and that would be complicated too, because then how far out do you want to go?
Oh, yeah, that's true. Well, I mean, just to say that you can switch on or switch off the order, like the first thing you see is what's going on. I don't know. It might be complicated though.
That would be a little bit complicated. What I've started doing, since they've added the events scheduling feature on the clubs, which basically means if you go to a club, you can see the events that they've scheduled. Mm-hmm. And that might not be the technical term for the feature, but that's how I think of it.
Right.
I tend to go to those and click on the notifications bell. And then it's like one of the first things that shows up in my hallway. It'll say, okay, well, it's 12:50 now, but this club's room is supposed to start at 1.
Okay.
And the other thing that's cool is, we may have discussed this earlier, but about a week or two ago, they added a feature to where if I know I'm going to be modding a room, and I schedule it, it's on my profile.
Oh, cool.
So that means I can also go to another person's profile and see if they're going to be modding anything interesting.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah. But some rooms only last for about 5 minutes, too, if nobody engages.
Right.
Or it can get canceled at the last minute if the host isn't that interested.
Well, just like the one that we tested out, it was only there for a few minutes.
Yeah, but we didn't schedule that either.
That's true. We did. It was just a random thing.
Yes. Yeah. It was fun, though, babes.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So I like the town hall today, okay?
Okay. Good.
Yeah, we slept a lot last night, babes.
I woke up at 2 something. I didn't even realize it was that early because I thought I was sleeping for at least 6 hours and it was only 4. And then I couldn't even tell you when I went back to sleep because by the time I woke up, it was already 8:30. So I didn't even know when I went to sleep because I was struggling. I must have been up for at least an hour, and then I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't even hear you this morning.
Yeah, because I woke up and I was trying to figure out why I couldn't sleep, and then I finally did. And then I took off my earphones because my music stopped playing, so I think I accidentally pulled on the earphones a little too much. So, and sometimes it throws off the, what do you call it? A speaker? Mm-hmm. So that was my fault. But I woke up and I struggled and then I finally went to sleep and woke up at 8:30.
Well, good. What do you think the issue was? Was it with the headphones or something else? No,
I pulled on the headphones and I think it threw out the speaker.
And that's what woke you up?
No. That was part of the reason why I woke up.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
No. I woke up for like an hour before this happened, so.
Interesting.
Yes, interesting. But that happens when weather's changing and things like that.
I slept for about 8 hours, and it was a deep sleep too.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it was. Oh, I felt so refreshed this morning.
Did you have any? Well, we can talk about that.
I did.
Okay.
I only remember one.
We can talk about that later.
When I woke up, as soon as I woke up, one was already like a couple were going out of my head like instantaneously. But I do remember one of the dreams. But we'll get there when we get there.
Good. I did not have any dreams. Obviously,
I didn't know that.
Did you know? So I did. When I was in high school, I did a speech and debate class. I took a speech and debate class, and it was really fun. And I wanted to research on dreams, and I did a little bit of research on REM sleep and things of that sort, and how we actually have at least thousands of dreams, but it feels like we have like less than that, and we remember at least one of them.
They've proven that for sure?
Well, no, that's in the research that I researched, that we actually have thousands of dreams, but
it's a theory at this point, or was it research?
Well, when I was researching it I don't remember, because this was like back in 1999, so I don't remember whether it was a theory or if it was a study. I forgot, but it was really interesting. But I know that studies have shown that a deep sleep is what you really want, and REM sleep is a sleep that you have when you're dreaming. When you're in a dreamlike state, you're in REM sleep. Isn't it interesting?
It is fascinating.
It's very fascinating
to think that we live our lives, and there's just a certain amount of time each day where we're expected to be unconscious and hallucinate.
I don't know if I'd call it hallucinations, because, I mean, for a person that has never seen in my dreams or seen anything, to be honest, I don't know if it's hallucinations or if it's our mind playing tricks with us when it comes to things that we've experienced, either in experienced in life or wanted to experience in life. I don't know. It's hard to say, because people have their own ideas about what dreams really are, and I'm not going to sit here and say that they're hallucinations, because I don't know that they are hallucinations.
Isn't our mind playing tricks on us the same thing as a hallucination?
I guess. I don't know. Well, I mean, when I think of hallucinations, I think of like people having visions of things.
But that's what you're having when you're dreaming, oftentimes. It's a vision.
But I can't... I mean, when I think of people having visions, I actually think of visual stuff that people are looking at.
Okay, so you don't have any usable vision.
No, I don't.
But
I can feel, hear, taste.
Right. But what I'm telling you is, typically when somebody has a dream who has vision,
yeah,
they have visions in their dreams. It's not just an audible thing.
Yes, I know that.
Oh.
No, I knew that. But I'm saying it's different for someone who doesn't have vision in their dreams.
So maybe you're not hallucinating, but somebody else is.
Right, exactly. That's exactly what I'm trying to say.
I am open to all theories on dreams.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have to go down the rabbit hole that we've gone down before. But let's just say that anything could be possible when it comes to dreams, as far as I'm concerned. I just don't know.
Didn't you say that they were thinking about looking for things that could record our brain waves when we're sleeping? Because a lot of people are fascinated with dream and dream interpretations.
I was listening to Joe Rogan about 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Because it was before my mom died.
Yeah.
That's how I know.
Right.
And he was talking. Now, sometimes people send him things that are like pseudoscience, so who knows how much of it was true.
Right.
But he was talking about something he read where they were able to record somebody's brain patterns and interpret that into black and white images.
Oh, weird.
Of what they were dreaming about.
Really?
Yes.
You know what I think is kind of funny is, you know how people talk about doggy dreams where the dog is barking after something and is pretending to run? Mm-hmm. And I wonder if that's all that a dog dreams about, or if it's just what the dog... Because dogs like to chase after squirrels and little things because they're curious. But I wonder if that's all they dream about, is running after something.
I have no idea.
I don't know. I mean, I think it's funny to observe them when they're sleeping, though.
I've never thought about that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm sorry you didn't remember any of your dreams last night, babes.
No, it's okay. I may not have had. Well, I believe I didn't have any, but who knows? I may have had some, and I just didn't. It didn't register.
You only had 999, and you need to have 1,000 to remember one.
Right. And who knows what has changed since 1999?
Exactly.
which seems like yesterday to me, but anyway, I digress.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, well, yes.
That's right.
Yes, yeah, well, yes. Babes.
Yes.
You got some new soap or body wash.
I
Which
did.
I guess is a form of soap. So.
It is soap. Yeah, I did. I got it in one of the packages that I received from Melaleuca, and it's really good. I have to buy more of that. I have to buy more stuff, actually. I need to get on that next week. Or this coming week, rather.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yes.
So there's some things I've got to buy.
I'm happy for you, babes.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm just thinking, did I ever tell you that one of my friends, this was a long time ago, said that we should just talk about one subject when we do this?
No, you never said this at all. Why?
Yeah, he listened to an episode that was 25 minutes long, and he's like, oh, it went on for like an hour or two, or...
Are you serious?
Yes.
I'm guessing. I'm gonna guess.
Don't say the
I'm not
person's
gonna
name.
say the person's name, but I think I might know who it might be.
Yeah, somebody with extreme ADHD.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, but if we talk on one subject, it would be so boring.
We'd be done already.
Yeah.
And we wouldn't have really covered anything.
I mean, like, if we talked about how the grass grows, right? That would be the most boring thing ever.
Mm-hmm.
Or Braille.
Yes. Imagine if we ended when we stopped talking about Clubhouse.
No, I think it's good to have a variety of subjects because we like talking about a variety of things, and it doesn't have to be one thing. It's just like, I guess if a person has ADHD, it doesn't matter who it is. It's like a bunch of TVs are on and they can't focus on one channel.
That sounds about right to me.
Yeah, right? So that would make sense if they're like, oh, just focus on one thing. But if a person doesn't have ADHD and they can focus on a myriad of things, that would make a lot of sense.
Yes.
But I get it.
Yes. We'll get in some music. We'll say that we're sponsored by Squarespace.
And Dr. Mom.
And Dr. Mom.
Which is no longer there.
Uh-oh.
Well, I mean, the Dr. Mom commercials are no longer on.
Yeah. Yes.
Squarespace? What is Squarespace?
They're a company that... Now it sounds like I'm doing an advertisement. They're a company that supposedly lets you build your own website, and they say it's really easy.
Oh, yeah.
And they advertise with a lot of different
And
podcasts.
then there's Wix also.
I'm not familiar with them.
it's
They're one
Wix.
of our newest sponsors.
Oh, and then we're also
Sponsored by Audible.
we're also sponsored by Bard and
Right.
let's see, what else could we be sponsored? We're sponsored by
Oh, I know. Monsanto's.
Monsanto and by Menon.
And Roundup. Roundup kills your garden.
And it also kills you.
Right. Roundup kills your garden and you, and we kill your negative expectations of blind people. That's a good fit.
Oh, we're also sponsored by Nabisco.
Yes.
And by Menon.
By Menon Costanza.
Yes. I gotta watch that episode.
That's a great one.
Costanza.
Didn't we watch that one together?
I don't think we did. That's hilarious, though.
That's a great one.
What was that one? What was the premise about that one?
We've talked about it here before, but
I'm sure we did.
Basically, George is attracted to this lady. I don't want to give out everything because we've talked about it.
It's before his girlfriend, right?
Well, no, this is after. This is the last season of the show, I think.
Oh, okay.
And when he leaves her house, he says, Costanza. And I believe it's the one where she has a lot of toys and they go and play with them. It's the Merv Griffith set. But we'll get there when we get there, as I often say.
When is it coming to Netflix, Bubs?
Later this year.
Nice.
Yes.
Awesome.
Great
Okay.
show.
Yes, it is.
Yes, yeah. Well,
It's really funny.
it is. We watched some TV yesterday.
Oh my goodness. So we watched 3 episodes of The Twilight Zone, all of which were very good.
Mhm.
And we watched 1 Alfred Hitchcock episode that was creepy but very good. What would you like to start with? The Twilight Zone ones? Because those were pretty good.
And I used to take the lead on Midnight Sun because you told me about it before, but this is the first time we watched it together.
Okay, so the Midnight Sun, I watched this episode twice. I watched it once on a trip I took recently, and then I watched it with you yesterday, and I thought that this episode was very well done, kind of creepy and disturbing, but also very good. So it starts off with a young woman in her house, and you hear she's looking at the sun, and she notices that the temperature is going up rapidly, and she starts to paint the sun. Is that what she does?
She's painting pictures, and on her canvas there's pictures of the sun growing bigger and bigger.
Okay. Then she hears a knock at the door. There is a little girl who is she lets in and is trying to take her water. The dad comes in and says, "Susie, don't take the lady's water." He goes in there with his wife, and Mrs. Bronson is the landlord, and she says, "Are you sure you want to do this?" He's like, "We have to go to New York. You know, the highways are packed, and it's so hot." I forgot where they were located.
I think they were going to Miami.
Oh, I'm sorry, Miami. I'm sorry. They were in New York. It's like, "Are you sure?" It's like, "Yes, it's so hot. The highways are packed, and we just need to get out of here." And the landlord's like, "Oh, all right. That's fine. I hope you have a safe trip." So they're the last family to leave the building. And so the only people left in the building are Norma, the young woman, and Mrs. Bronson, the old landlady. So they are next door neighbors. I don't know how much time passes, but Norma goes to the grocery store, gets some food, including 2 cans of fruit juice. 3 cans of fruit juice, I'm sorry. And it's enough to where she could carry. She brings it over to her house. Mrs. Bronson is there, and she says, I was going like a mad woman going up and down the aisle, and I think I was the only one going up and down the aisle that was comfortable. And there was a woman that just stood in the middle of the aisle, and she was just crying, and all these people were just getting as much stuff as they could. And they were talking about watching the news and what the temperature was, and that they were only going to have the water on for an hour a day, which is crazy to me. Why would you do that? I'm guessing they were conserving water. But of course, this is back in the 60s, so I don't know. Anyway, so what happened?
Would you like me to?
Yes, go ahead and chime in. Yes.
Norma is hanging out with your girl, Mrs. B.
Yes, this is B.
And at one point, it's daytime. It's super hot. I think past 120. They realize that the door on the attic or the roof rather, is open, and some guy comes in.
Yes.
He goes to the apartment, eventually gets inside, steals a gun that Norma has, and goes to her fridge, drinks some water, throws it on the ground, and starts talking about how he was a respectable citizen, he doesn't want to hurt anybody.
He had a wife.
And a son, and they both died because of the heat, and then he eventually leaves them.
Right. And it was very strange.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I'm a good man, I'm a decent man, I'm not going to hurt you, I just wanted some water. And he leaves.
Guy leaves.
They have dinner, or they're getting ready to have dinner. And then the radio goes out, and so does the power.
I believe that happened earlier in the episode.
Did it?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Norma, I think, falls to the ground and starts to wake up.
No, wait. You're missing part.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So, I think this is before. This is before she tells Norma not to paint the sun anymore. And okay, so is that okay? So Norma falls to the ground and wakes up.
Yes.
This is when she touches her windowsill. Is that correct?
No, that was earlier in the episode before she went to the store.
Okay. So after the guy leaves, I think I'm mixing times.
You
up.
are.
But
Or
Mrs.
At the time.
So remember that Norma paints something again.
Yes.
And
it's a waterfall.
It's a waterfall, and Mrs. Bronson's like, "Oh, that's a beautiful waterfall," and she's saying, "Oh, I love the sound of waterfalls and trees bending in the wind." And she's like, "Can you hear it, Norma? Can you hear the cool water? It's nice, cool water." And then Mrs. Bronson faints. Norma is horrified because she's the only one in the building. Then towards the end of the episode, you see Norma waking up, and is she in a hospital bed?
No, she's, I believe, on the couch in her living room, but a doctor is making a house call.
And Mrs. Bronson is there, and
yes,
she wakes up, and Mrs. Bronson says, "Oh, you gave us quite a scare, child." And she said that she has awakened from a very, very high fever. And she said, "I had the strangest dream that it was so hot and we were going towards the sun." And to which Mrs. Bronson replied, because outside, right, it's snowing. She says that, "Well, they say Miami is warmer, but we're going, every day we're going farther and farther away from the sun, and until we freeze."
She told the doctor this,
yes,
not Norma.
Not Norma. And the doctor, I think, was talking about Florida.
He was going to
Miami.
Trying to get there.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that was the episode, and I thought that was interesting and very disturbing, but very good.
It made me think, babes, of the start of the pandemic when nobody was really interacting with each other.
Yeah, that was really weird. Listening... I'm sorry. I just thought of something. Listening to cars and not hearing any cars. Isn't that crazy?
Okay, I don't know what that has to do with this episode, but...
No. When it first started, when you said that people were not interacting with each other, that was odd because I remember listening outside of my house at the time, and there was nobody there. No cars, nobody. Yes. It was very strange.
Here's what it makes me think about. Are we sure that this pandemic is a once-in-a-lifetime thing? Or is it possible in a year or two, or maybe even 5 or 10, there is another disease that's way more deadly than coronavirus that hits and really drives people away from each other?
I really hope it doesn't happen because, that we were not designed to be away from each other. People are designed to interact with each other. We are designed to be together. And that's not how we are. That's not how we naturally are. We can't be isolated from each other. Otherwise we'll go insane.
The other thing it made me think about, babes, is one, there's global warming, and that's a whole different can of worms we could go into at a later time. But two, what if there's a nuclear war and we have essentially a nuclear winter?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about the nuclear thing, and I have my own opinion about global warming, and we don't really need to go there because, I think we may have discussed it.
You'll make Alaska very nice, okay?
Oh my goodness.
But, okay, so let's take global warming out of the mix, since that could be a contentious issue.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about the idea of a nuclear winter? Or the likelihood?
I'm not too sure about that. I don't know enough about nuclear war and nuclear waste, and maybe I should do some research on it, because I don't know that there could be one.
Oh, there could definitely be a nuclear situation. When you look at not only what's going on between Israel and Palestine, but also the situation between Pakistan and India, and some people have speculated that it's a miracle that it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, I don't know. I do not know.
Oh. Well, let's do some character analysis.
Okay.
What do you think Norma's vision of heat teaches us about what she's going through mentally?
Well, I guess that would coincide with how she's feeling physically, right? She's she's hot on the inside, and maybe she is thinking, well, what if it's hot all over the place? Like, very hot all over the place, and there's no way to escape it at the time. And I have to go through it. And I just happened to go through it with Mrs. Bronson.
Let me ask you a different question. What do you think?
Did I not answer your question?
She's hot on the inside, but
I don't know. I didn't know how to answer that.
Okay, let's take a different perspective then.
All right.
What do you think life has been like for Norma as things get colder and colder?
I'm sure it's been awful, crazy.
Why?
Because she is probably thinking, I have to get warm. I'm freezing. I'm cold. I need to warm myself. And what if she's thinking that, what if it was like summertime? But maybe she's thinking, what if it's extremely hot? I don't know.
How long do you think it's been getting colder by the time Norma has this hallucination?
It's probably has been getting colder for a while. I'm guessing maybe a few days, a week. I couldn't tell you.
You don't think it's a matter of months or even years?
No.
Who do you think lives longer, Norma or Mrs. Bronson?
I'm gonna say Mrs. Bronson because she's older, but it also could be Norma too. I'm sorry. I could say Mrs. Bronson dies first because she's older, but it also could be Norma as well.
Let's say Mrs. Bronson goes first.
Yeah.
What do you think those final days or hours are like for Norma?
Not very good. If she freezes to death.
There's a question I want to ask you, but I'm going to wait until we do another episode until we do another recap of one of the other episodes, because I think it could apply to that episode as well.
Okay.
So, is there any last things or questions you have for me about this episode?
What do you think about the little girl who tries to steal the water and the man who tries to steal the water, or who steals the water?
The little girl is around 3 years old. I don't think she knows any better, and she's hot. Mm-hmm. Plus, she's not even real in the world of the Twilight Zone because she's a figment of Norma's imagination.
Yeah, because this whole thing was a dream. Yes, mm-hmm. Yes.
The man, to me, represents the person who had it all together and is now downtrodden. For whatever reasons, his circumstances in life have changed. Mm-hmm. And this could be Rod Serling trying to show us that sometimes good people do questionable things because they fall on hard times. And this is the way we're representing that in this episode.
And that's happened many times before. Mm-hmm. In real life, it's happened many times before. And good, decent people have been known to do bad things because of what's going on with them. Yes.
Yes. Anything else you want to ask or say about this?
Did this episode freak you out?
It was a little bit freaky.
Okay.
And I'm glad I saw it now instead of at the beginning of the pandemic.
Because now you're able to kind of, process it.
I think it would have been very strange if I would have seen it this time last year.
Yeah. I was surprised that you didn't see it because you're a big Twilight Zone fan, and I'm becoming a Twilight Zone fan, actually.
It's a great show.
All right, but I don't have any questions about it. I do want to get to the next episode.
All right. The one with Captain Kirk?
Yeah, no, that was the last one. Let's go to the one about reading. Was it the last one we watched?
No.
The one about Captain Kirk, okay.
Time Enough at Last was the last episode we watched.
Okay, why don't I give like a quick recap of this one? Because this one wasn't as...
I really like this one.
I mean, I like this one, but there wasn't a whole lot in it.
True.
This young couple, including a young...
James T. Kirk.
William Shatner, not Captain Kirk, because he wasn't Captain Kirk in this one. Although that would be kind of funny.
This was before he met Spock. He was off on an away team mission and forgot who he was.
Wouldn't it be funny if the Twilight Zone crossed with Star Trek?
That would be awesome.
That would be weird. Twilight Trek. Anyway. Do.
Anyways, keep going.
Star Trek TWZ, right?
Right.
Anyway, so him and his wife just got back from a honeymoon. They go to...
Can I stop you there?
What?
They're on their way to their honeymoon.
Oh, they are? Okay.
They're on their honeymoon, and they're supposed to end up in New York.
Shall we?
That's okay. Keep going.
Okay. So they're on their way to their honeymoon, but they stop at this diner to get something to eat. And while they're eating, they notice a machine that takes pennies. And you put a penny in there, and you ask it a question, and it gives this like little piece of paper and the answer. So William Shatner saying, do we need to leave? Like, will we be able to get to New York if we leave today? Should we move today or stay here? Do we have to leave the diner by 2:30? Do we have to leave by 3 o'clock? And then you notice that he starts getting very, very obsessed with finding out what is going to happen. And his wife is like, oh, come on, you're really suspicious about this. This is ridiculous. So they decide to leave because it's almost 3 o'clock. He's in his mind is like, we have to do something because it's almost 3 o'clock. So they leave. They're crossing the street. They almost get run over. And they miss it by inches. Chime in, please.
Partially that's because William Shatner tried to run across the road.
Which is really stupid.
He thinks that this is a sign that they need to ask more questions. So they head back to the diner.
Order something else.
And go to the table, start asking questions, and the wife is starting to get really, really worried about this.
Yeah.
We should also say that at one point this little machine implied that their car had broken down. That's why they're in the small area.
And it was going to be fixed in
4 hours.
4 hours, yeah.
But the machine implied that it was going to take less time.
Yep.
Eventually, one of the mechanics comes to the diner and says, "Oh, mister, it's a miracle. We found the exact part you needed, so we're ready now."
Yeah.
The wife is a little bit freaked out that William Shatner would just be so obsessed with this thing. She eventually convinces him that they need to leave after crying.
Yep.
And they walk out, and then you see this older couple come in and sit down at the same table. And we get the sense that they never left the city because they were obsessed with this little machine.
Right. That kind of freaked me out, though.
It did.
It would almost remind me of, like, what would happen if you asked a Ouija board questions. Mm-hmm. And Ouija boards freak me out. I've never touched one, and I don't think I ever will. And you just can't play with it. You just can't play with it. But anyway.
I think I've said this here before.
Yes.
My mom was really into psychics and tarot cards and crystals.
Freaky, crazy, creepy things. Yeah.
We could put it that way, or we could just say things that don't really add up in the end.
No. It's like It's too out there.
Right. And to me, I looked at this episode as this, and I'm probably not the only one, and you probably looked at it the same thing. Mm-hmm. This is really an episode about obsession and addiction.
Yes, absolutely, yes.
What do you think the older couple at the end of this episode can teach us?
Well, I mean...
because I have some thoughts on them.
I don't know if they could teach... Well, okay. Maybe they're thinking, and this is only a theory of mine because we don't know what happens to this couple. Maybe they're just so obsessed with it because, well, they don't have a lot of years left. I don't know how old this couple is. Would you think?
I don't know for sure, but if I had to guess, I would say that they were maybe 35 years older than William Shatner and his wife.
Much older, yeah.
Yes.
So maybe they're thinking, well, we don't have a lot of time left. Maybe we'll just have this machine predict the rest of our future and we'll go on with our life. Or try to. Or maybe we'll just stay here for a while and be completely caught up in it and yeah, I don't know.
Okay, that's one way of looking at it. Let me give you my perspective.
Okay.
I think what this couple represents is people who have wasted their lives chasing a simple answer. Because oftentimes I think that the reason people go to psychics or depend on tarot cards or get obsessed with aliens is because they want somebody else to make the tough decisions for them.
Right, exactly.
And these people, instead of going out there and forging an identity for themselves, at some point went to the diner and decided that this machine was going to play the role of their god. Absolutely.
I think you're absolutely right about that. And I think that his, William Shatner's wife in the show, I think she said it so well. She said, I don't want to know what happened. In other words, I'm okay not knowing. Mm-hmm. I'm okay not knowing. I want to experience it. And I think it says a lot.
You and I have disagreed on religion a lot. And I don't necessarily want to go too far down this rabbit hole. But what does this episode teach us about worshiping false idols?
Quite a bit. Quite a bit. You know, people talk about psychics and mediums and healers and things like that. They are false idols to me because nobody really can predict somebody else's future. I don't care what anybody says. No human can predict your future because they don't know. There's no possible way that they can. I don't care if Sylvia Brown says it, you know,
you definitely shouldn't care if she says it.
No, because she has proven false.
She's dead and she was a liar. But
yes, she was a liar. I don't know why people actually asked her onto their talk shows, but I guess they really thought that she could answer them. But people can fail us. People are not perfect, and they can give you false hope into thinking that you're going to get the job you want, you're going to get the home you want, you're going to be living in an ideal place. And I think that that it could have become a false idol to that young couple.
You mean the older couple?
The older couple, I'm sorry. And the young couple escaped it.
Yes. This is going to be a little bit uncomfortable.
Uh-oh.
The older couple.
Yeah.
Do they die and go to hell? Or is this lifetime like an earthly version of hell for them? Because they're connected to this diner in a way that they can't control.
I can't answer that question.
Okay.
That is not for me to answer. That is really... that really has to do with them and their spiritual condition. I can't answer that question.
William Shatner from this episode of the Twilight Zone, because he was on another one, and I actually like this one better, but the other one's pretty good too.
Really? Mm-hmm. Okay.
him and his girl, do they end up living a happy life? Are they both still alive now, the characters?
Mm-hmm.
Or have they since passed on? Did he resent her for the rest of her life because of what happened at the diner? Did they end up getting a divorce? What do you think happened to these crazy kids?
I think crazy kids. I think they live longer, and I'll tell you why I think they live longer.
Go ahead.
Because they decided, hey, you know what? It's better not to know the future. We have a future ahead of us, and it's up to us to make a future for ourselves, and we don't need a machine to do it. And I think that his wife, hopefully, I believe effectively, made him think about, well, I have a wife now. I want to start a family, and I don't need some machine to tell me how to do it.
I get the sense that the character William Shatner played in this episode is a bit of a seeker.
Yes.
He understands that there's more to the universe and he wants answers.
Right.
Do you think that trend continues and maybe there's issues in the relationship, not because of the diner, but because of his desire to seek answers and her maybe just wanting to accept life on the face of it?
Well, it's possible that he does seek it, but I don't know that he turns to machines or what have you.
Do you think that they have kids? And if so, what kind of parents are they?
I don't know. It's possible that they do have kids. And maybe William Shatner changes his way of thinking differently about the future. And maybe he decides that I'm not going to be a father that wants a quick answer for all my future endeavors. I don't know.
I believe it's possible that they stay together, but there could be some conflict in the marriage because he looks at the world differently than she does.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean that they don't love each other and stay together.
Yeah, right.
Are these characters still alive today?
It's possible. Maybe they live to a ripe old age, and they decide that we didn't, and they look at each other and say, "I'm glad we didn't waste our life on that machine."
What do you think their final years are like?
It's possible they're blissful.
You think so?
Yes, maybe.
Nice.
I'd like to think that.
Good on them.
Good on them.
Is there any questions about this episode you have for me?
Do you know who played his wife on the show, and did you recognize her face?
I'm sure we could Google it, but off the top of my head, I don't. And when we were watching it yesterday, I sarcastically said, because you asked me that same question in the middle of the episode, and I said, "Oh yeah, she's the woman who played William Shatner's wife on an episode of the Twilight Zone."
I thought that was funny.
Thank you.
I was thinking, I know that. Tell me something different, please. Okay. You smart aleck.
Oh, it is.
But it was a good episode.
Yes. Any other things you want to say about this, or?
Did you recognize the older couple?
No.
Okay. It was very good. I wonder here's a thought. I wonder what the waiter at the owner of the diner is thinking when they're, getting caught up in the machines.
He's probably thinking about the chicken fried steak that he tried to sell to our captain.
Which sounds delicious, actually.
Yes, it does.
I haven't had a chicken fried steak in a long time. Yeah, I have not. It was very good.
Come for the food, stay for the mysticism.
Right. Stay for the obsession.
Yes.
Right.
Do you feel we've done this episode justice?
Absolutely.
All right.
Now, I think you should recap the reading episode because you really like this one. This is crazy.
Time Enough at Last, about a man named Henry Bemis.
Yes.
Who is obsessed with reading. We first see him, and he is a teller for a bank. He's handing out money to a regular customer, but he's also trying to read, I believe it's David Copperfield.
Yes, David Copperfield.
He's talking to her about the book. Eventually, she just walks off.
Oh, and he accidentally shortchanged her until he realized that, oh yeah, you're missing another.
She told him, hey,
Yes.
you owe me another $1. Bro.
Yeah, you owe me another $1, yeah.
Eventually, Henry's boss calls him into the office and says, look, you spend all your time reading. During the lunch hour, you're always going down to the vault with a book or a newspaper and reading. And when you're supposed to be doing your job, counting money, I see you reading a book all the time.
Right.
You need to stop reading here.
Yeah.
Henry explains that his wife is against him reading at home.
Absolutely anything.
She'll steal the newspaper from him. She won't let him read after dinner. And his boss says, well, it sounds like you have a very smart wife.
Which is very strange to me.
Henry, was it Henry or Harry?
Henry.
Henry,
yes.
Good. Gets up to leave after being told, you got to stop reading on the job.
Yes.
And he sees some paper by the door and starts looking at it, and then eventually he just leaves.
Yeah.
We next see Henry at his home. He's reading a newspaper. His wife, who sounds like a real battle axe.
Helen. Her name is Helen.
Helen and Henry.
Yeah.
Comes in, grabs the paper from him, and says...
She sounds like a nag, too.
Yeah. I won't have some husband of mine just buried in literature when we have guests coming over. You need to figure out how to have the art of conversation, and I'm going to teach you how to do that.
Yeah, and she pretty much calls him a fool, but at this time.
She goes into another room. He has a book of poetry hidden under his chair. I'm assuming it was a recliner, maybe the early version of a lazy boy.
Yeah.
Pulls it out and thinks he's getting away with something. Helen is hiding behind a door, gets really upset with him, but first he says, I want you to read me something from the book.
And he's looking at the book. This is what I thought was very strange. He was looking at the book with all these names of poets.
Yeah, and then he goes to the pages and they have all these funny lines in them. It was kind of hard to tell what she had done.
Ooh.
But she had to cross a lot of stuff out.
So she crossed out all the words.
Mm-hmm. And he's like, why did you do that? She explains, you shouldn't be reading, picks up the book, and Helen starts ripping out pages, walks away. This guy seems like he has a horrible...
battle axe of a wife.
Yeah, wife and life.
Oh.
He picks up the pages and is just distraught.
He's trying to put it back together, and he's like, oh no, this is a ruined book.
We next see Mr. Bemis, I'm assuming a day later at work. About to go on his lunch break, grabs a book and a newspaper, goes down to the vault where they keep all the money, is reading something about the A-bomb when there's this explosion.
Yep.
He leaves the vault. The place is a mess. We assume everybody is dead. He walks around town, eventually ends up back at his house, which is pretty much just
it's in shambles, and it appears that Helen is probably dead as well.
Unfortunately. We have learned to love her.
After we called her a battle axe.
Yes. I'm sure her final moments were spent in pain.
Oh. Well, I mean, that vault may have saved him. Anyway, go on.
Henry gets really, really freaked out because nobody's around to talk to.
And he has all this food he could eat.
Yeah, but he can't communicate with anybody.
No, he can't.
He falls asleep. He wakes up. He doesn't even know how much time has passed.
Right.
Eventually, he's walking around, and he thinks about killing himself. Grabs a gun, and says, I know God would forgive me for this.
Yeah.
Is about to blow his brains away. And then he sees this column that had fallen, which presumably helped hold up the structure for the library. And it says public library. Mm-hmm. Looks around. He notices there's books.
A lot of books.
Is excited. Starts planning his future. Everything looks bright. And he starts reading. But then his glasses fall off. So, I had actually never seen this episode, but it's one that I'd heard about a lot. And I'd seen clips of the way this episode concludes.
Wait a minute. You haven't seen this episode until you watched it with me?
Correct.
Are you serious?
Yes, but it had been one I'd always heard about and wanted to see.
I thought you already watched it.
I'd watched the ending of it.
Oh.
But I had not actually seen it.
Wow.
The way I remember it in my head is that he's searching around for his glasses and he steps on them.
Oh.
The way it actually happened is that he's feeling around for his glasses, finds them, but that the lenses had fallen out of them when they dropped on the ground, which is way more creative than I remember it.
Wow.
And that's where the episode ends.
And he can't read.
This is an amazing episode.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
And the one thing that he needs for reading, and it breaks.
Exactly.
He's like, it's not fair. Wow, that's horrible. That's horrible.
This is brilliant, I think.
It's a horrible existence.
Something else that I find amusing.
What's that?
His name is Henry Bemis.
Yes.
When I lived in Denver, I used to go to a branch of their library. I went to a few different branches because some had things that others didn't have, and you know why. And when society is open, I take advantage of library services.
Oh, yeah.
And even when it's not, I would usually be using Overdrive a lot more, but I'm having an issue with my account.
Uh-oh.
And I think I need to go to the library to fix it.
Oh, no.
So I haven't used Overdrive in like a month or two. I will go back to using it.
Couldn't you call them?
I don't think that they're there to answer those types of questions right now.
Oh, okay.
Because they'd have to look at my library information, which requires my card.
Oh, right.
Right. So it's more complicated. But
okay.
Suffice it to say, I'm not using library services right now, but I will be, and probably within the next couple of months, and I love it.
Oh, wow.
But I used to go most frequently to the Bemis Library in downtown Littleton.
Oh, wow.
So when I found out his name was Henry Bemis and he's in the books, I briefly thought to myself, I wonder if they named the branch after him.
I think that may be a fictional character.
It is a fictional character, Babes.
Yeah, I know.
We watch him on TV.
I know, but that's funny that you would think, oh, well, I wonder if they named it after Henry Bemis, a fictional character.
Yes.
That is funny, though.
I have some questions for you.
Oh, okay.
Why do you think Helen is so opposed to reading?
Maybe because this is just a theory. I don't know if I may be completely wrong about this. Maybe because she thinks that she is more intelligent than he is because she can talk.
That's interesting. I actually thought that it's a form of insecurity.
That you could be right too. I think it could be both.
We know that Henry has a job.
Uh-huh.
We don't know if Helen does anything else besides being a housewife.
Right.
And there may be a sense that I never got to really educate myself because of how society was structured back then.
Mm-hmm.
And she may feel envy that Henry continues to work on himself, and because of this, he may one day be able to move up the social ladder and leave her behind.
Right, and you could be right about that. I understand why his boss said, "Hey, you have to stop reading because this is affecting your job." Mm-hmm. I understand that because he's shortchanged a woman and he's not paying attention to what he's supposed to do.
And we also hear the story about how last November, when people were voting, unlike us. That's an inside joke. People would come in and Henry would look to try to see who they were voting for. And one time he's trying to look a little bit too closely at this woman's chest. And she smacks him over the head with an umbrella.
Did he really? Oh, wow. Okay. Mm-hmm. Oh.
Yes.
It was implied that he was looking there.
They say that in the episode.
Ah.
Yes. Okay. Maybe a little bit more eloquently than I just did, but...
Right.
The general point is the same.
Uh-oh. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Do you think that Henry's life before the A-bomb was a bit of a waste?
It's possible. I mean, his wife wasn't really helping.
Let's examine this.
Yes.
He has a horrible wife,
mm-hmm.
from what we can tell.
Yes.
He's a teller at a bank whose boss doesn't respect him.
Right.
And we get the sense from the way he talks that he's been pushed around a lot and never really went after his dreams.
Absolutely. I don't think he had a better life before the Caesar. And he wanted to improve himself, and I think he thought that more knowledge would help him in the long run.
What do you think this episode teaches us about the torture genius?
Well, remember when we talked about how when people who say that they have a genius IQ are they're brilliant in areas, but they're not brilliant in they're brilliant in certain areas, but they're not brilliant in other areas. And I think this is a complete example of that. He is brilliant when you talk about the kind of books that he's read and the knowledge that he has acquired. But when it comes to conversing, when it comes to actually having a conversation, he can't talk to you about that beyond books. And so he's lacking in that area.
I'm going to ask you a question that may be a little bit uncomfortable.
Uh-oh.
And it was the one I was thinking about asking you when we recap The Midnight Sun.
Uh-oh.
There's a scene in this episode, right before Henry discovers that he's near the library, where he has a gun and he's thinking about killing himself. We know, or at least there's enough evidence to assume, that we need interaction with other humans in order to be mentally healthy, right? Correct?
Yes, absolutely.
I'm assuming, believe that suicide is a sin.
Well, so yes, it is, but here's the thing, though.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that because somebody committed suicide, they're condemned. And is that where you want to go with this?
Yes.
Okay.
Because he's in an extreme situation and has reason to believe he'll never talk to another human again.
Right.
And we know that we believe that God designed us to be around other humans.
Absolutely.
So how harshly do you think Henry would be judged? Or going back to the story of Norma would be judged if they decided to kill themselves?
I think he would be judged. That doesn't necessarily mean that he would be going to hell.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why. Because I've known of many Christians, more than one, that have taken their own lives. And I think that there are some people that have said, and it's very wrong, that because somebody killed themselves, that means that they're going to be condemned to hell because of that, and it's not true. I do think that God does forgive people that have killed themselves, but he will judge them for it. But
it's not going to be as harshly as if everything was going great in their life and they just kill themselves.
It's not. Okay, so they're not going to. Some people that have killed themselves that were Christians are not going to necessarily suffer because of it, but they will be judged for it. Mm-hmm. I don't know how. I mean, because they are in heaven, they're not going to be. I don't know that they're going to be judged like, that they're going to have a horrible eternity because of it. I think that they will be judged for it. How harshly, I don't know, but it will come up. But they're not going to be burning, if that's what you're wondering.
I was curious about that.
Yeah, I think that pastors have made mistakes in saying that suicide will send you straight to hell, and that's not true. That just there's nothing in the scriptures that will back that up.
Nice.
So if Henry does kill himself, I don't know. I can't answer that question, but he will be forgiven for it.
Well, good.
Yes.
Good. Okay.
Yes.
What do you think Henry's... well, here's a question for you.
Sorry, you scared me.
Did I?
Yeah, when your voice raised up quickly.
I was animated, babes.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. I forgive you. Do you think that Henry ends up killing himself?
I don't know. It's possible he does. I hope he doesn't, but it's possible he does. But that would be a horrible existence to know that you were the only one on Earth. And you have all these books, but you can't read them.
Mm-hmm.
And you have all this food, but no one to eat it with. And you're just left with all this stuff. Think about how horrible an existence that would be.
That sounds pretty bad.
It is very bad.
That sounds like a total bummer.
Oh, no, it's awful.
Yes.
It's awful.
Yes.
And he's talking about, like, I could be here, enough books to last for years and years, and then his glasses break. What a poor man.
Yes.
You feel so bad for him. He's like, it's not fair. Just my luck, I go blind. Well.
I finally got rid of Helen.
Now.
Didn't have to pay any alimony, and now this.
Oh. It's awful.
Are there any questions that you have for me about this episode?
Do you recognize the man who played Henry Bemis?
No.
Okay. I think it might have been Paul Winchell, but I could be wrong. Paul Winchell was a famous voice actor in his day.
It's possible.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it could be somebody else. He could have done, and he was already an old man by this time, correct?
He was an older guy.
He was an older guy, but he wasn't like elderly.
No.
Okay.
I definitely would consider this episode a classic.
I'm so surprised that you didn't watch this before.
I've probably seen. I would tell you this. I've seen clips of it on YouTube and in specials. I've probably seen 90% of this episode more than once.
Yeah.
But if we're talking about watching it from beginning to end, this is my first time.
By the way, this is not going to be a discouragement to not read. I'm still going to read.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Yeah, reading is so good.
Yes. But you would consider this episode a classic.
Oh, yes.
Good.
Really makes you think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, no, I might have seen this once before back in the 90s. But to the best of my memory, this is the first time I watched it from beginning to end. But again, I've seen most of this episode in different variations from clips and whatnot.
Yes.
Yes. Because this is one of the top five that they always talk about.
Wow, really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's a great one. And it's from, I think, early in the first season.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Interesting.
Is there anything else you want to say about this?
No, because we got to get to the Alfred Hitchcock episode that we saw, because this one was really crazy.
Tell me. We should say that while I have Alfred Hitchcock Presents, the entire series, I have it on a hard drive, and Alana randomly wanted to watch an episode. So we found one on YouTube, and it was kind of grainy, and the sound quality wasn't that good.
Yeah, it could have been a lot better.
I think it's called Carrie Blue.
Carrie Blue.
Talk about it.
Carrie Blue is a type of dog, which I didn't even know about until this episode. So I'm guessing they're an older couple, correct?
Yes.
They're an older couple, Thelma and Ned. And Ned is really obsessed with his dog, Annie, who's an older dog, and she happens to be a Carrie Blue. Thelma is trying to get him to pay attention to her because she feels like she's competing with him and the dog. And rightfully so, because he cares more about getting her healthy, because the dog just would not want to do or eat anything or whatever it is, because she was a pretty old dog. She was like 13 years old. So Ned goes on a trip. How long was this trip for?
I'm assuming for a few days, maybe a week.
Okay. Ned goes back on a trip. Ned goes on his trip and comes back. We assume it's about at least a few days or even a week.
Mm-hmm.
Thelma has to tell him, hey, you know what happened? Something happened to Annie. I know this is going to be bad, but I have to tell you that I noticed that she was not doing well, and she just kind of, laying there and didn't want to do anything. And then finally she gets up and she comes over to me, and she maybe she wanted to go out, but she just stood there, and she just laid there on the ground, and I tried to pick her up, and she just weighed a ton, and I took her to the backyard, and I didn't feel any heartbeat or pulse or anything, so I dug a hole and I put her in there, and I covered her up with dirt, and and that's where she is. And he got so upset. He's like, "You buried my dog alive. I can't."
He slapped her.
Yes, he did, and that wouldn't fly today.
No, it wouldn't.
This is like in the 60s.
Maybe even 50s.
50s. Whoa.
50s or 60s. But
yeah. And I was surprised. I mean, you could hear it, And so I think it might have been the next day, right?
Something like that.
And, and Ned, Thelma wants to talk about Annie, and he says, no, we're not going to talk about her. It's as if she never existed, and that was probably a coping mechanism. But then he says, hey, let's have some hot chocolate.
May I interrupt you?
What?
There are two pivotal things that happened before that.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
What happened?
I'm not, Ned, I'm not going to slap you for getting this wrong.
Thank you.
Yes.
That would not be a good idea, because then I would slap you back.
Right. Before the thing with the hot chocolate.
Yes.
I think when you said the next day, I thought you were going to talk about when the veterinarian came over.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. The vet came over and said, you know what? Your wife did the right thing. The dog was 13 years old, and your wife did the right thing by burying her. I mean, that's what could she do? That there was nothing she could do.
And the husband pretty much just sends him away.
Right. And says, you don't know my dog.
Then he goes to get a physical and tells his doctor that he's having trouble sleeping and he needs more sleeping pills. And then we have the thing with the hot chocolate.
Okay, then he suggests to Thelma, because we already discussed it, he didn't want to talk about Annie. He suggests to Thelma, hey, why don't we have some nice hot chocolate, and I'll make us some. And already I'm thinking, oh no, this is going to be bad. So she starts to immediately feel sick after she gets her hot chocolate, and he admits to her that he put sleeping pills in the hot chocolate. And in her hot chocolate
of sleeping pills.
Yeah, entire bottle of sleeping pills, which is really nuts. And he says, you know what? You're going to it's possible that you're not going to die, just like what happened to Annie. And it's possible you're going to be buried alive, just like what you did to Annie. And she says, why did you do that? Basically she's trying to get answers, and it seems like she's about ready to succumb to the sleeping pills, but she finally wakes up.
By this time, Ned is dead because he went to the back to do dishes.
While she's sleeping.
And he heard something. He looked out and he thought he saw Annie. So he runs from excitement, trips, hits his head. And
he hears her barking. So he thinks.
Well, not only that, he saw what he thought was Annie.
So the doctor comes back.
An investigator.
An investigator, comes back and says, I'm sorry, but your husband's dead because he tripped and hit his head on the concrete. And she starts to cry, and she says, I talked to the vet, and I said, Ned's been really, really sad since Annie died.
Yeah, that's an understatement.
And she says, I can't believe he's dead. I wanted to surprise him. And so I bought him a new Carrie blue dog, and I wanted to surprise him. And so the dog is next to her now, right?
Yes.
And that's the end of the episode, and it was really, really sad.
And creepy.
Yes.
But well done.
Yes. They were very good actors in that episode. Although very disturbing.
Why do you think... Is her name Thelma or Wilma?
Thelma.
Why do you think Thelma was originally attracted to Ned?
Maybe she was attracted to Ned because maybe he had a zest for life and he liked dogs, and maybe she was a dog lover, but maybe at the same time she noticed that Ned cared more for Annie than her. I don't know.
How long do you think they were married for? I get a sense that it's a couple of decades at least.
Yes, I would say that too. At least 20 years.
Mm-hmm. Maybe even 40.
Right, a long time.
Yes.
Yeah. I think, is it possible that something happened in the marriage to kind of make Ned sort of, what's the word?
Crazy.
Check out?
Yes. And to add on to that, what I was going to ask you is it possible there's more to Ned than meets the eye? Meaning, maybe he had some sort of undiagnosed mental illness that came out later in life.
I absolutely believe that.
Mm.
And maybe it just manifested with his dog.
Mm-hmm.
He just attached himself to the dog and he detached himself from his wife. And probably other people. Including the vet.
Do you think that they had any children of their own?
It's possible they didn't.
I don't think they did.
No. Mm-mm.
What do you think Thelma's life looks like after Ned dies?
Well, she only has a little Carrie blue dog to keep her company. I think it's a very lonely existence.
I do too.
It's very sad.
Yes.
And she only wanted to be a good wife to Ned, and she wanted to surprise him. And I honestly think that she was an old woman that did not know how to deal with his disorder if he had any disorders.
Mm-hmm.
It's possible he may even had PTSD.
That's right, because he could have gone to war.
Right. Maybe he had a faithful dog in the war.
It's even possible that he was a World War I veteran.
You think so?
I don't know, but he's an older guy.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe.
So many questions that will never be answered because of how old this show was.
And I don't think that people talk about this episode that much.
No, I think we're talking about mental illness now today than we have, ever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, now PTSD is well recognized. Bipolarism is, ADHD is. I mean, there's so many.
Yes.
So many undiagnosed cases.
What do you think it was like for Thelma to be laying in bed as Ned's telling her that he might bury her alive?
I think she's horrified.
Mm.
I think she's thinking of maybe her years with Ned and thinking of all the good times and why would my husband want to kill me now? After all we've been through, after all the time we spent together, why would the man I love want to kill me? She probably thought, well, he was so different before.
Maybe.
Yeah, he was so loving before and now he just hates me. I mean, what a horrible thing to think about.
Yeah, especially over the dog.
Right. Oh, I know. We joke, but it is very sad.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to say about this episode?
Do you think at one time that Ned could have been a loving husband?
I don't know if I'd say loving. I'd say more attentive. It's not that, I mean, the way I understand it, men from his particular generation were a lot more reserved. So I don't think loving in the way we understand it today, but it's possible he was more of a solid guy who loved his wife, but maybe didn't show it outwardly.
Right. maybe he just provided or something.
Mm-hmm.
And because it's true, a lot there are men that grew up in the generation of our parents.
He would be the generation of our grandparents.
Our grandparents.
Or
right?
even great-grandparents.
Right. And some of them were loving, but some of them didn't know how to love because they weren't loved the way that boys should be loved by their parents.
Yeah, I'm actually thinking that he would be our great-grandparents' generation.
It's possible, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Who knows?
Yes.
But then, like you said, he could have been a war vet.
That certainly crossed my mind.
Yeah. Yeah, but he was just crazy, crazy, crazy. But the man who played him was very good.
Yes, yes.
Very good, yes.
Is there anything else you want to say about this episode?
No, but I think it's a classic.
Well, then, Alana, I have a question for you.
Uh-oh.
Will you marry me in the year 2074?
No.
Why not?
Because I'll be dead by then, probably.
Oh, okay.
2074. How many years is that?
That's only 53 years from now. So we should start planning soon.
I'll be 94 by then. I don't think so.
Oh.
I mean, come on.
Well, it'll give you something to look for, babes.
That's like all my youth would be out of me by then.
We started talking yesterday.
Yeah, we were kind of joking about this.
We were on Clubhouse and there was some psychology room. And I won't blow up these people's spot, one, because I don't know them. But you know a couple who's been engaged for almost 10 years.
Oh, more than that.
Oh, more than that. Okay.
Yeah, I think I can't even remember when they got engaged, but they got engaged, for probably almost 10 years, yes.
And when I've known people with very, very, very long engagements.
I don't get it.
I've always thought to myself, that is very crazy.
It is.
If I were to get engaged, personally, I'd want to get married within 3 to 6 months.
I think that's absolutely absurd.
That somebody would wait.
No, I think it's absurd I think it's absurd that people would have 3 to 6 months to plan, and I think it's not enough time.
But my idea of a wedding is just go down to the Justice of the Peace and have a nice wholesome meal at Denny's with some friends.
Denny's?
All right, IHOP.
No.
No.
No, it's got to be at least at least a classier place than that. I mean, I like both restaurants, but I don't want to have breakfast for reception.
No, maybe just have a dinner with some friends at home or something. But I would want to do it very fast.
At least Chinese food, Italian.
All right, Italian food or Chinese.
Steakhouse.
Okay.
No.
But the point is,
I had better food at my graduation.
Okay. I would want to get married at a Justice of the Peace and just do it official and not wait a decade plus. Because that sounds, at that point, why even propose to somebody?
I definitely don't want to wait a decade plus, and I definitely don't want to wait more than 2 years. 2 years is actually a long time to wait. I think a year at the max. I think the year at the most. A year at the most is a better a waiting period.
Why do you think some people propose and then will wait so long to get married?
Oh, I have a theory about that.
Tell me.
I think it's because the idea of proposal or being proposed to is so romantic, but the idea of actually getting married scares the living daylights out of the guy and some girls.
That's very possible.
But I also think that in a girl's heart, because I am a girl, I know these things, that this girl wants to be married and she wants to be solidified as a married woman, and she doesn't want a guy that's going to beat around the bush and wait and keep her waiting.
Are you talking specifically about your friend or girls in general?
Girls in general.
Okay.
I don't think they want to wait that long. I think some girls are okay with it, but I think in reality, a lot of girls are not okay with it. They're like, why am I with this fool that wants to keep me waiting around and gives me this beautiful engagement ring but won't take initiative and marry me?
Are you going to call your mom tonight and tell her that I proposed to you?
No. Because it wasn't a real proposal.
But you could say, and we even have a wedding date in store. It's going to be July 4th of the year 2074.
No, because we were laughing about it.
Yes.
And it's not a real And granted, we don't have the means to get married right now.
We do actually have the means to get married.
Do we?
Yeah, we just take a blood test and go down to the justice of the peace.
Oh my.
But what were you going to say? Granted.
Well, and then there's, I'd like to go to marital counseling, and I think it's very important.
I'm going to need it with you. Sorry, babes, you're going to need it with me too.
Yeah. What kind of thing would I sign up for? I mean, there's so many things to prepare for. It's not something to take lightly. It's not like, oh yeah, I can just.
That's why we need 53 years to plan.
No. No, that's insane. Oh my goodness. Okay, I won't mention this person's name.
Go ahead.
Good friend of mine. I cannot believe that they were able to plan a wedding in 8 months. From the time that they met to the time that it was time for them to get married. I still can't believe it.
And you said it was a pretty nice wedding.
Yes, it was. Beautiful wedding ceremony. Very nice reception. Very good food. I enjoyed it. It was very, very busy that week. Those 4 days I was there. It was very busy.
I have a friend who's visiting town this week
Mm-hmm.
and wants to meet you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm partially thinking it would be funny if I introduce you as my fiance and say that we just got engaged this week.
No, don't do that. No.
All right, I won't do that.
No, I actually want it to be a real engagement instead of like a fake one. Like, oh yeah, we decided to. It's kind of like those, like, you know, those pacts that some friends make, which I think is really stupid.
Yes.
Like, oh, if we aren't married or we're not with anybody by the time that we're like, I don't know, 40, 50 years old, then we marry each other. Stupid idea.
It is.
And someone tried to do it to me, and I said, you know, that's not going to work, because what if you end up marrying somebody else? I'm not going to want to marry you. You know, what if I end up marrying somebody else? What if I'm engaged to somebody else by that time? Or what if I'm in a very happy relationship? It's not going to work.
I once made a pact with a friend. He said, you're going to want kids. So we made a pact. If I have kids before I'm 50, I owe him $50. And if I don't have kids by the time I'm 50, he owes me $50. Now, the thing about this is we had a massive falling out, so we no longer talk to each other.
So nobody owes anybody anything?
I don't think so. Well, yeah, I'm going to leave the comment that just entered my head out of it.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I'll just ask you this question, and we can drop it afterwards. You don't see yourself ever running into this person again in your life?
No.
Okay. It's probably a good idea.
I agree with that, Jim. Whoa.
You don't need we'll just call it a toxic thing happen again.
I have enough toxic people in my life.
You know how to deal with them already.
Exactly.
Yeah. And there's some people that you deal with in little doses.
Exactly. And it's just like, I'm sure you love me and being around me, but if we were around each other 24/7...
Oh, that would kill me.
Exactly.
I'm sure that would kill you.
Yes.
Who would kill each other first? I don't know.
I don't know.
No.
Well, maybe we'd end it with a suicide pact. I don't know.
Oh no, that's a horrible. I don't like making those kinds of pacts with people. I think it's really stupid.
No, I was joking when I said that. Babe.
The marriage pact is stupid.
Yes.
This is really stupid. No, I don't know that anyone has ever made a pact that I can think of and actually married somebody because of that pact.
That would be an interesting comedy, the suicide pact thing, to where...
Suicide pact thing or the marriage pact thing?
Well, both, but I'm thinking specifically about a suicide pact. So let's say you have a couple that hates each other. And for whatever reason, their lives are falling apart even outside of the relationship. So they come to each other and they say, okay, I hate you, you hate me. But when we're not hating each other, we have really good sex. And both of our lives are in shambles. So here's what we're going to do. We are going to spend the rest of our lives 24/7 completely around each other until the day that we both decide to kill each other. And the movie ends with them offing each other.
I don't think that's a good idea. It's just very disturbing.
Oh.
Are we talking about a married couple that were married, or?
I'm thinking we're talking about people who are in a long-term relationship.
Yeah, I don't think so. That's now there could be a comedy based on pacts, marriage pacts, suicide pacts, friendship pacts.
So would it be like that movie you showed me where Drew Barrymore's in a scene and Jennifer Aniston and Ben Affleck were together, but it's just about like 20 people who have these different packs, and there's so many people you don't.
I don't think there would be. I don't think there would be as much people because that would probably be more confusing.
Yeah.
I think it would be maybe like 3 sets of people.
Oh, nice.
How's that?
That could work. Because it was like, who is this? This movie's about to end in 15 minutes.
No, but see, I was able to explain it, except I think you were really confused because there was a lot of women and, men involved. And the one girl was involved in 2 relationships.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a simple man, babes.
I know. And I liked it just because of the weirdness of it, but I also thought it was weird that lives were kind of intertwined. But I know it probably seemed really confusing to you, but I liked it.
Having said that, I do want to show you Pulp Fiction at some point, and there's a lot of characters in that movie too. Oh. And it plays with time a lot.
Oh, good.
So the last scene and the first scene kind of like overlap with each other.
Okay.
Yes.
Well.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
Whatever.
Babes.
Yes.
What did we do for dinner last night?
Ooh, we cooked up the last of the fries that I bought, and they were really good. I think you peppered them a little too much.
I
though.
did. I wanted them
I was like,
to be a little bit spicy.
You put I think because I was trying to find the black pepper, right? And
yes.
Is that it?
I put a lot of black pepper on them, a little bit of salt, not too much.
Rosemary.
And a lot of dried garlic on them too.
And rosemary.
Yes, and rosemary.
I think I had another thing of black pepper that you might have put somewhere else. It might have been the smaller pack, the smaller thing of black pepper.
I think I put peppercorn and black pepper.
Oh my goodness, it's probably what it was.
It tasted so good though.
It was good.
Yes.
No, the peppercorns are you have to crush them.
Oh, interesting.
So
okay.
no, you didn't put peppercorn on it because
Gotcha.
the peppercorn is something that is solid.
Okay, so it's like you have to use a pestle and mortar for them.
I think you have to.
Gotcha. Well, then I just put black pepper.
So, because when you make chicken adobo, the peppercorn is usually left uncrushed.
Nice. Okay.
But I don't like biting them because they are hot.
I thought I did pour some over there.
I don't think you did. No,
but maybe I didn't.
I don't think you did because I would have tasted it.
Oh, but yeah, I really like the fries.
I was like, whew, that was and then we made flatbread pizzas and they turned out really good.
They did. We only had enough to do a slice for each of us.
It was good enough though.
And we topped it with tomato sauce, mozzarella,
and olives.
Yes.
We made it simple. And then I took out the barbecue sauce and we shared barbecue sauce with our fries and that was delicious.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it was so good. We were quite full afterwards.
It was great, babes.
It was delicious.
Yes.
The flatbread for the pizza reminded me of like a thin crust pizza.
I could see that.
It was so good. I was really glad that I suggested it because it turned out really good.
It did.
It certainly did.
Yes, you will.
I have still some leftover filling that we used for our wrap, so I don't know if the hummus is going to taste good with rice, though. It might.
It might. I don't know.
I don't know.
Have I had hummus and rice? I think I have, but it was homemade hummus.
I know the kale will.
I've had hummus with rice before. You might want to do, babes, is get some crackers and use that with the hummus. That hummus had a lot of cumin in it. Because you bought it store made, and I could tell that they did not go cheap with the cumin.
No, it was good.
Yeah.
I think I might do that. I was thinking of getting some groceries for tomorrow.
Well, we got to think about this because I have my friend coming to town and he wants to meet you on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
So does that mean I come over here Wednesday, Thursday, and leave Friday, or what are you thinking?
That's actually, I think that makes more sense.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm thinking that you get a ride with me.
Yeah.
To wherever we're going.
Yeah.
And this way you don't have to worry about getting your own, and I could make it so that you wouldn't have to pay anything, and I could pay for our fares.
Oh, nice. Another thing, babes, I was thinking is we could meet somewhere and then I get a ride back to your place. So maybe we meet somewhere at 4, we have dinner at 5:30, and then you and I leave by like 8.
I don't know. I kind of think maybe you should just
come over here.
Yeah, that might actually be easier.
Yeah.
What do you think?
That could be easier. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So we have decided that.
Yes, but you won't be able to schedule the ride until around 3 because I have to talk to my friend, and he probably won't know what's going up on until Tuesday, and we don't get done hanging around until around 2.
Oh no, okay, that's true, but as long as it's before 5, it's fine.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, remember that. As long as it's before 5 o'clock, it's all good.
Nice. There we go, Jay. Whoa.
It's all good. And if you even find out on Monday, that would be even better because I could have an extra day to
I would love to find out on Monday, but something tells me I'm not going to be able to.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
What are you guys thinking about doing?
I don't know. We'll figure it out. I'll show him. He's staying in the area of town with Lloyd Center and all that stuff. So
right.
I'll show him around there.
Yeah. I don't even know. Well, because there's probably some things that are close to where he is too as well.
Mm-hmm. I have some ideas of where we could eat.
Okay.
Yes, Jim. Whoa.
So that means that all I would have to think about is what we would want to have on Thursday.
And what movies we're going to watch on Thursday.
I think that we could have a Betty Davis thing, but
I really like that.
What do you think?
I do.
Yeah.
So whatever happened to Baby Jane, I think should be on there, and then we'll search for another Betty Davis movie too between now and then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, speaking of movies, babes.
Yes. We got to talk about ours.
Yes.
We don't have to spend too much time on it because, some of them are kind of scattered.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the plot is some plots are scattered.
Yes.
So why don't we start with we can give the recap on Loaded Weapon 1 because this was really funny actually.
Well, let me tell you my experience with the movie. I hadn't heard about this film, and it's 1993. I'm living on Stark. I'm not going to give out the address, I almost did. But we walked by where I used to live.
Yes, I remember that.
And it was a small studio apartment. Spring break. My sister sees in the newspaper that she wants to go see Loaded Weapon 1. Okay. And we get the money, and something I had emptied my backpack. And this is going to sound like irrelevant detail, but I like stuff like this.
Okay.
We had seen some advertisement for a talk show that day. I want to say it was Sally Jesse Raphael, but I could be wrong.
Which I used to watch a lot, actually.
Yeah, I may be remembering the show incomplete.
Okay.
Or the wrong show. But it was supposed to be about this 11 or 12-year-old boy who had sex with his 16-year-old babysitter.
Oh my!
And they ended up having a kid.
Are you serious?
Yes.
This is like back in the early 90s, right? Wow.
And for some reason, I conflated this in my mind with this is going to be on A Current Affair.
That is crazy. Okay.
We go out, we see the movie, we come home. My sister sees my undone homework and she freaks out on me because at the time, she has stuff going on in her life now, but back then it was a little bit sparse. She's like, you gotta do this now.
And you're, how old are you by this time?
I'm like 10.
Oh, wow. Okay.
This is 93, not 94.
Oh, okay.
93.
Okay. Wow.
So I do the homework and I missed the Sally Jesse Raphael show. I'm assuming this was on.
Oh, we can probably find it on YouTube, maybe.
Yeah, I don't care about it now. I was young and that's what I thought.
I know. I love those weird topics sometimes.
Yeah, but at some point you gotta go.
Yes, I know.
And I tune into A Current Affair that night. It's not on. My sister said, oh, that was an advertisement for a talk show that was on earlier in the day.
Ah.
Anyways,
So you would have missed it anyway.
that was the story about the first time, or the story about the day of the first time I saw a loaded weapon one.
Wow.
Yes. I don't know if that's a good recap of the movie, but I'm willing to give a recap.
It's odd that it has a connection to a talk show in some ways, but
I like giving a little bit of context to things in some respect.
Okay.
So, the movie's basically about a cop played by Emilio Estevez, whose name is Jack Colt, who has been in this state of disarray ever since the disappearance of his partner Claire, who we find out is a dog.
I thought that was so funny. He's like, "Oh, Claire, I miss you so much."
Samuel L. Jackson was good friends with Whoopi Goldberg, and I forgot her character's name, but she gets killed.
Oh, her name was Billy York.
Yep.
Billy York.
Who gets killed very early on in the movie.
By this guy with a German accent.
Yes.
Or a, French accent.
There is a cover-up. These company that is similar to the Girl Scouts, but uses a different name.
Wilderness Girls.
Yes, probably for legal reasons.
Yes.
Is selling cookies that are laced with cocaine. They start to investigate this case, and I'm going to give a brief overview.
Yes.
They eventually run into Kathy Ireland, who runs the Wilderness Girls. She falls in love with Colt, but is working with William Shatner, who is a Vietnam veteran who is lacing these cookies with cocaine. Mm-hmm. And they go to stop him, eventually do. Samuel L. Jackson is like a week away from retirement and decides that he's going to stay on as long as Colt is his new partner. They get in their car to go away, and Kathy Ireland is in the back seat with Claire, and they drive off into the sunset.
Yeah, that's right, because she just appears with the dog.
Yes, for a sequel that never got made.
And they're like, sequel.
Yes.
I'm glad they didn't make a sequel, actually.
I am too. Is this my favorite film? No. There's a lot of plot holes into it.
It is really funny, though.
But is it funny? Yes.
It's hilarious.
Did I like it as a kid? Yes. It holds a special place in my heart. Is it the best parody of police officers?
Probably not.
Probably not. But is it up there? Is it in the conversation? Yes. I enjoyed this film, and I didn't enjoy it as much as I did when I was a little kid because my film palette is more well-defined. Yeah. But I still thought it was pretty good. What's your take on it?
I thought it was good. I was surprised how good it was because of how many cameos were in it. Because there's sometimes I watch movies with a lot of celebrity cameos and it's not that great. Yeah. Like when I watched that one romantic comedy called Valentine's Day, I thought it was going to be really good, and it was really disappointing, actually.
Because they're like, here's Adam Sandler, and here's...
No. I mean, the plot was disappointing.
No, but it's sometimes the plot can get derailed from too many cameos, too.
No, it had nothing to do with too many cameos. It was just like the plots were just... The Valentine's Day plots were just... I don't know.
Okay, from the way you were describing it, I thought one of the reasons that you didn't like it was because...
No. It had nothing to do with celebrity cameos. Gotcha. It had everything to do with the plots.
Okay.
And I just didn't think it was that great.
Yes.
And I thought it was very, overrated, but it's just me. Anyway, I thought it was, funny. It's too bad that Whoopi Goldberg's character Billy York was killed earlier because I didn't know what the connection was until much later. I thought that the scenes with, Sergeant Luger, played by Samuel L. Jackson with his family.
Luger. Yes.
Luger.
Yes.
Kathy called him Sergeant Loogie. But funny, especially with when you see him with his family.
I love, there's a part of that scene where he's making dinner and his wife comes home with the checkout boy at the bag boy at the grocery store.
Yeah, yeah.
We get the feeling that his wife kind of fools around.
They might have been having an affair.
Right.
Yeah.
But there's a great part of that scene where she's like, I'm thinking of bringing him to meet Mother. And Samuel L. Jackson just says to her, babe, we got to be realistic. Your mom died 6 months ago.
And he's like, oh, wait.
Did I not give you the message?
She's like, ah!
And I also like when, right before that happens, and he says to the bag boy, he's like, do you want any coffee? And she's like, he came from an abusive household. And so Samuel L. Jackson just pauses and is like, so no coffee.
kids were weird too.
Yes. They're playing footsie with Emilio Estevez.
Yeah, they were like touching his leg, and he's like, "What are you doing? Don't do that."
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Am I correct
Mm.
that not only had you not watched this film, but you hadn't heard about it before we started?
I have not heard about it. I was surprised I haven't heard about it because how many cameos were in it, and it was a lot. But it was really funny.
Would you recommend this movie to other people?
I would. I would. There was a lot of funny things in it.
Yes. Yes, and it has these weird Star Trek connections. There's Whoopi Goldberg who dies. William Shatner, who played Captain Kirk and who we saw in the Twilight Zone episode. And James Doohan, who played Scotty on the original series,
that's right.
has a cameo. And I completely forgot about
That's right. Like, hey, Scotty did it. And he was the Irish guy, right?
Yes. He was working up with the coffee machine. That was great.
It's great. And what about that one movie? What was that one movie that was mentioned in there? Oh, wait. That was mentioned in a different, in the next movie.
Uh-oh.
I think.
Yes.
I think it was. Oh no, it was that one where wasn't Charlie Sheen in that one movie? He's like, have you ever seen blah blah blah?
I think it was Platoon. Oh no! It wasn't Platoon. It was John Lovitz is talking with Emilio Estevez as he's cutting the cord to this bomb, and he asks if he ever saw Hot Shots.
Yeah, that's right. I was like, have you ever seen Hot Shots?
Which is a film I've heard about, but I've never watched.
Was Charlie Sheen? Did Charlie Sheen make a cameo in that one? In Loaded Weapon 1?
Yes, he played the valet.
Oh, right, and I totally missed that part. Yeah, I totally forgot about that.
Yes.
Okay, that's interesting.
I like at the beginning of this movie where Emilio Estevez goes into the mini mart and some guys come in just to rob it, and he decides to stop them. They completely ruin the mini mart, and the owners are yelling at him. He's like, "There's no need to thank me. I'm just a guy doing his job." And then he just goes off as there's this fire in the mini mart.
I also like the part where he's like, yes, and all the wine and whiskey and all this, and seeing all horrible things happen to people in the world or whatever he said, and he goes, what flavor of icy do you have? And he's like, ugh, yuck.
Yes.
That is so funny. He was really funny in this movie. Kind of a weird cop, but anyway.
How do you think somebody like Emilio Estevez looks at this movie? Do you think he's proud of it? Do you think that he likes that people enjoy it? Or do you think in some way he looks at it like it's a come down for him?
I don't know. I mean, I thought it was really funny. But maybe he thought, I did better movies than this. You know, maybe this isn't my best movie, but I hope people like it. I don't know.
Do you think he's embarrassed by it?
I don't know. I don't know. It's possible that he is. I don't know. I mean, I thought he was great in the movie, but, you know, what do I know?
Yes.
He probably was like, no, this isn't the best one. I don't like to, you know, I don't want to see my own movies. I don't know. I thought it was really funny.
That's good. Yeah. Is there anything else you want to say about it?
I wonder if Kathy Ireland looks at the movie and is like, wow, did I do this movie? I forgot about this. I wonder if she thought it was unforgettable because, you know, she doesn't do movies anymore. Or forgettable, sorry. Maybe she thought it was forgettable because as far as I know, she doesn't do movies like this anymore. I mean,
I know her from being a model and from this movie.
Yeah.
But I don't really know what other films she's been in.
She did something for, she did some Christmas movie, but it's not well known. But I don't know. I don't think she does a lot of acting anymore.
Do you think that you would have enjoyed this movie as a kid?
I probably would.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been really funny.
Nice.
And the way that Whoopi Goldberg was talking to that guy with the accent.
And he shoots her, and she's like, park on 3rd, you'll never get a spot here. And then he shoots her down.
And he's like, oh, but then when she's being shot, it doesn't sound like she's like in a lot of pain.
Yeah.
She's like, oh. And she's like, you mean that da-da-da-da-da-da, and they're lacing the coke.
Are you talking about Mike? Or are you talking about this other one? She's like, Mike, are you talking about this person? This location? Is he here or is he there?
And then she's like, you mean to tell me that this is all about cookies and that the they are putting cocaine in the cookies. That's the way she said it. Was really funny.
That was great.
Anyway.
Yes.
Okay.
I've seen this movie a lot on home video, but I don't think I've watched it since probably early 95.
Wow. Mm-hmm. So you weren't even sure if that was going to hold up?
No. And again, in some ways it doesn't, because I have a more refined palate. So I would have liked if there was a more coherent story. Mm-hmm. But I think for what it is, it's pretty good. And
there wasn't a really coherent story. There was a story.
There was a story, but it's kind of thin.
It's very funny.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Yes.
And then, babes, we watched Police Academy 19.
By Mark
Spielberg.
Spielberg.
This time it's personal.
That was personal.
No. We watched Police Academy 2.
Still scattered. So it's been a while since I've watched this as well. Mm-hmm. But I really do, and before I go into this, I really do think that the movies have gotten are funnier than the first two. But that's just my opinion. And again, I haven't watched them in a long time, so we will not be watching that this week.
No.
But I'll give kind of a shortened version of it, because a lot of things are scattered in it. Basically, the police, the precinct is not doing very well. The captain is still Eric Lassard. The Lieutenant Mauser is under the captain, and he wants to take his job. And they want new recruits for the precinct, because the people that are on the force are really old, and they're losing their energy pretty much. And so Eric talks to his brother, Pete Lassard, who is the head of the police academy, and sends down his recruits. Most of them are men, but there is Officer Hooks, who is the only woman and the only one that is that doesn't know how to assert herself. So they get to the precinct, and they're being assigned their jobs. Lieutenant Mauser is their commander. I guess he's a commander first before he becomes a lieutenant, correct?
I think he's a lieutenant, but he thinks he's going to become captain. Something weird like that.
Yeah, he's a lieutenant, and he wants to become captain, but he wants to make this group of recruits fail. And so he is Lieutenant Mauser. He gives all the guys partners, like Carrie Mahoney has Denny Stuhlman as his partner, and he's really messy. That was a funny scene. Remember that?
Yes.
He goes to his house. He's like, "Are you hungry?" He's like, "No, but I'd like a tetanus shot." Eugene Tackleberry, which I forgot his name was Eugene, has this really good looking female partner named Kathleen Kirkland. And there's a story with them too. I forgot who had Marvell Jones as a partner. There's so many things, there's so many different people with different partners that it's kind of hard to keep up. And then Lieutenant Mauser decides that he wants to put Hooks in an office because he doesn't think that she belongs on the force as an officer with the rest of the men. And she forever hates him for it.
Oh.
Yeah. So would you like to chime in, please?
Bobcat Goldthwait is a criminal in this movie. Eventually, a dude from the first movie, Steve Guttenberg, gets kicked off the force, but decides to go undercover and infiltrate Bobcat Goldthwait's gang.
That's right.
And they go, he gets in there, Bobcat realizes what's going on, but by then it's too late because the police come in.
Right.
Yes.
And what was the thing with the new and the old zoo?
They were at the old zoo, was where the gang was meeting.
Right.
Yeah.
And something happens to where they're trying to find a way to get rid of Lieutenant Mauser, who now becomes Captain Mauser, and thinking that he wants to take over Captain Lassard's job. And they do a bunch of things, like they put some thing, I forgot what it was, in his shampoo, to where it glues his hands to his head.
It kind of turns into plastic.
It turns into plastic. I forgot what it was.
You were laughing hard at that. I thought that was okay.
I thought that was funny.
The scene that really made me laugh, babes, in this movie was when the lady goes with her fiance to visit her family, and the brother and dad just start fighting each other.
Right. It's like, oh, come on, you guys. It's time for dinner. Oh, they're just acting like a bunch of kids. Oh. And I think the older guy was almost hurt. It's like, oh, they're like hitting each other. That was funny. What about that one scene where Kirkland and Tackleberry are saying goodnight to each other, and he shoots his gun?
Oh, that was okay. That was good.
That was kind of funny.
Yes.
But anyway, so the way that they get Captain Mauser is they trap him in, do they throw him into the old zoo?
What happens was he's supposed to tie a rope around his assistant, and the assistant is supposed to like go down to where Bobcat and the gang are, but he ties the rope around himself, and the assistant ends up pushing him, so he falls into the cave area. Yeah, and they're like, "Hey, get me out of here!" And then it's pretty much implied that the animals eat him alive. Is it? Or attack him or whatever. Okay, I thought it was just implied that they made somebody else captain. Oh no! I mean, no, they do make somebody else captain, but I'm guessing that something happens to Mauser. Interesting, but there's no animals at the zoo because it's the old zoo. I don't know, but okay, there were animals at the new zoo. Okay, but they were at the old zoo. They were at the old zoo. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, so he's trapped in there, yeah. And they make Captain Lassard. They give him his job back. The people, the students from the first Police Academy movie, just society's got. I guess, yeah. This movie is slightly better than the first one, but it's still not that good. And I suggested that maybe it's kind of like the Toy Story movies, where the first one wasn't that great, but the second, third, and fourth one get better with time. Mm. With each one. At this point, I don't get why people love these movies. Okay. Yes. But what do you think? But you're a big fan of these films. I was when I was a kid, and granted, it's hard to remember all of them because it's been so long since I watched them. But I honestly think they get funnier with each of them. But that's just my opinion. Okay. Having revisited this film, would you recommend it to people? I still would. I mean, yeah, the plot is scattered, but there is more funny scenes in it, and I don't know. I think it's interesting how and Tackleberry does get Tackleberry does get into a relationship, and you don't see that in the first one, and you don't see a lot of relationships starting. Oh. Well, actually, there was one with that sergeant and that one guy. And also, didn't what's his name start dating a female cadet? I don't remember. Gutenberg? I think it might have been. Yeah. But then I don't think you see her anymore. Yeah. She died. I don't know. Oh. I don't know if she died or not. Yeah, it wasn't as bad as the first one. Right. Yes. But I think it makes it even funnier because of Bobcat Goldthwait's role. Mm. And I think he's in all the other movies. Are there any questions about this movie that you would like to ask me? So have you seen interviews with Bobcat Goldthwait? Yes, I have. It's so funny though, because when he does that, he does that weird voice. It's hilarious. But I think have you heard him without the voice? Absolutely. He's been on Joe Rogan a few times and a couple other shows too. What did you think about him? The interviews? I think he seems like a really interesting guy. I really like him as a director. I was really surprised when he told me that he directed
And he said he was a good director.
We still gotta watch God Bless America and World's Greatest Dad, which are two of the films that he's made.
God Bless America sounds like a really depressing movie.
It's fun, though. It
fun?
starts a little bit slow, but I enjoy it a lot.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And World's Greatest Dad is really good, too.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
But yeah, and he's good. He's talented.
Wow. Did he ever talk about how he came up with that weird voice for comedic purposes?
I think he has, but I forgot.
I think it's funny.
Yeah, it is.
I don't, and that's obviously not his real name.
Correct? No, I would hope not.
Yeah. Yeah, I would hope not too. Bobcat.
Yes.
Our son's name was Bobcat.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I think it's funnier because he's in it.
I do too.
Yeah.
Yes. Is there anything else you want to ask or say about this movie?
Oh. I
Hear the
hear
cops.
ambulance. Maybe it's the cops or the ambulance. I don't know.
Oh.
I can never tell.
Yes.
Yeah, they're so loud.
Yes.
I don't have anything to say about it.
All right, so it's something.
It is.
It's better than the first one.
Yes.
Yes. But the bar is a little low.
Oh my
Oh my
goodness.
God. Yes. Is there anything else you want to talk about, babes?
Your dream.
Yes. The one I remember, I'm not in it, but I'm watching it.
Oh wow. That's happened before, I'm sure.
It's going to sound so weird.
But
It's this family that's trying to get off of a Hawaiian island. Don't ask me which one it is. But it's like this rainforest and they're in this competition. So they split up. The dad, mom, and daughter go and do their thing. And the son and the family friend go off and try to make it off the island. And they realize that there's alligators that surround the islands.
Oh wow.
And I'm watching this and then I wake up.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, it was super
That
bizarre.
sounds like an episode of Survivor or something.
Mm-hmm.
Or I don't know.
Yeah.
That's odd.
It was very strange.
Wow.
Yes. But that was my dream, babes.
That is weird.
Mm-hmm.
And you were watching it unfold. But you weren't in it.
Yeah, I wasn't really a character.
Okay.
As much as a viewer.
Oh wow.
Yes.
That's interesting.
That is, babes. Jaylo,
Yes.
is there anything else you want to talk about?
No.
You feel we did a good job covering things?
Yes.
All right. Well, in that case, I need a kiss.
Okay.
Okay. All right, Jaylo.
Oh wait.
Last chance.
I don't think so.
All right.
I don't think so. I've said what I had to say.
Well, good.
Good.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye bye. Have a good day.
Have a good day.